Electro and Bono Movie Power Hour. You know what? Where's Hawk at? Listener discretion advised.
Welcome to the Electro and Bono Movie Power Hour. I am Electro, of course, and Bono is not here today.
He's not.
So we have a very special guest filling in for him. One Lil Lil.
What's up, guys? Oh, thanks for calling me special.
Guys, I'm one man. I'm one man here.
With multiple personalities.
Bono's here in spirit, I feel.
Yeah, that's
Bono's
true.
here in spirit, and Bono, he just recently moved to a new home, and, he's got a lot on his plate right now, but the show must go on.
Mm-hmm.
And so he will be back soon. We got some great episodes planned. But in the meantime, I was just like, we need to talk movies. This is the movie power hour after all.
The people need to hear you.
So I called Lily.
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I don't know what to do.
That's true.
And then I was like, you know what? Let's go all the way back. We talk about here in the movie power hour, of course, how, this is a podcast about the love for film, the love for movies. That's something I share with Bono, of course, which is why we started this podcast. But another person I share that very much with is one Lil Lil.
It's true.
Who we've been watching movies together since
the beginning of time, really.
the
80s.
88. I was a baby, but I'm sure
You were watching
I
movies
was
as
watching
a baby,
them.
dude.
And so, I grew up with Lil Lil, and so I grew up with two older sisters and two older brothers. And when I was little, I spent a lot of time with these sisters.
As you should. You're welcome.
Because my brothers were older and didn't want to hang out with me. And you guys were older too, but I think you had no choice.
I had a choice.
Well, as in... you would get stuck babysitting me a lot. Not just you, but like Rosie, our oldest sister would get stuck babysitting us.
Totally.
So we would end up going to the movies with her like a lot, with her suitors.
Yes,
with suitor number one.
Gentleman callers. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many suitors do you think paid for our movies?
Can we not put our sister on blast right now?
Fine.
I'm sure she doesn't listen to this podcast, but still.
Fine.
So we would go to the movies a lot, and then I would hang out with you guys at home, and we would watch a lot of movies. Now, you guys were some cool bitches, but every now and then I would be subjected to what I believe scientists have coined the chick flick. Right?
That is the scientific term.
Yeah, it's in the books. It's in the science books.
Webster defines the chick flick.
Webster himself named it the chick flick. We only give facts here. We don't fuck around. We're going to give you the real history. And the chick flick, Lily will always kind of talk about how I love chick flicks, and she says it to everyone.
Because you do.
And I do have a soft spot for them for sure, and it is because of what I just explained. I was raised with sisters, and they watched a lot of chick flicks, and I was
subjected to that.
Yeah, I was forced to watch a lot of them. But as I've spoken with you before, you tell everybody, oh, he fucking loves chick flicks. He loves chick flicks. I love some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then there would be ones that I would sit through and I'd be into. And then there'd be ones that I would be like, fuck this, I'm out.
They would infuriate you.
I'm leaving. I'm going to go play with my toys.
And sometimes you couldn't leave because we'd be at the movies. And at some point you got smart and you're like, I'm arcading this bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Watch this bitch die or whatever,
Yeah. So I did want to ask you, what is like your first memory of chick flicks? What are the first chick flicks that you remember watching?
How dare you put me on the spot? Well, I think it goes back to the first movie I remember watching at the movie theater, which was Ghost.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, I'm almost 100% sure that's the first chick flick I watched. And give me some Swayze all day, son.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. That's the first thing that I remember from like a movie theater experience. But I think I grew up with like Julia Roberts, if I can be honest. So those are a lot of my first memories of chick flicks.
Right. I was thinking on it too, thinking back, like, okay, what are like the first chick flicks I remember watching at home with you guys like a lot? And I was trying to think like what, like, because I got like, I remember, oh shit, that's not on our list. These aren't on our list. I remember you, there was this one fucking time, right? The year, I can't remember what. I'll have to look it up right now, but I really wanted to watch Hollow Man.
Oh no.
And I was fucking pumped for it. And it was already in the books. It was in the books. Yeah. You and our oldest sister Rosie was gonna take us to go watch Hollow Man because I wanted to watch it. And then we get to the movie theater. I'm as happy and excited as a boy gets.
Stop making this a therapy session.
And then we get to the marquee, right? You're looking at the times. All right, what time does Hollow Man start? And then Rosie's like, hold the fucking phone here. Is this Sweet November I see?
I think it is.
I don't know if it's Sweet November or if it was Autumn in New York.
It was one of the two, which is essentially the same movie.
It is kind of the same movie. But I remember I was standing there and I was hearing you guys talk like, oh shit, Sweet November? Like, shit, I really want to watch that. And you guys were like, fuck, let's just like let's just watch it. I'm like, hey,
I'm right here.
Hey, what's going on? And then you guys were like, and then Rosie comes over to me and she's like, look,
oh no,
we're gonna watch Sweet November. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? And she was like, we're gonna come back and watch Hollow Man like tomorrow or another night. But right now we're gonna watch Sweet November. Now it's like, what the fuck had just happened? It's like if you just fucking had like a super hot chick in bed and she was about to start blowing you and she was like, oh wait, I gotta go, bye. And I was like, what? What just happened? Whoa. And she's like, oh yeah, and also like you have to do your taxes now. And I'm like, wow, what? So not only do I not get my dick sucked, now I have to do something that I really don't want to do. And I have to sit there so angrily and watch Sweet November.
A very dirty and unnecessary analogy.
The people need to know what I felt.
Yeah, well, I mean, apologies.
Thank you. Finally, reparations.
30 years later, maybe. I'm sorry. I do remember this day. I don't remember a lot of things that you remember, but I do remember this day. And
you remember taking the knife out of your pocket and putting it in my back?
You got to... Okay, well, did you get to see Hollow Man? Did she...
Eventually, I believe so.
Did she...
I believe
keep her word?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, well then...
It was just like...
In the moment,
I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we came here with this agenda and I was already super excited. And you guys could have easily been like, well, how about we come watch Sweet November tomorrow?
Without this boy.
Yeah, but you were like, nope. Right now, right here, right now, in front of God, we're going to go and put this kid through
that's the beauty about going to the movies is that you reserve the right to change your mind at when you're purchasing your tickets. You're like, wait a second. There's a new movie with one Charlize Theron?
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm getting some... It was Autumn in New York.
Okay.
It was Autumn in New York.
That's the one you bailed on.
Autumn in New York came out in 2000 and Sweet November came out in 2001 and Hollow Man came out in 2000. So it was Autumn in New York.
Okay, so one Winona Ryder trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, and then I was like, this old-ass man, Richard Gere's, like all trying to bang her. And then like, what? She has cancer.
We'll get to that. But you'll never forget it because it was the betrayal. The Taste of Betrayal.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. And now that I think about it, like if I had to choose one of those two movies, I think I pick Sweet November.
Yeah, well, Keanu's in it.
I don't, not because of Keanu, because of Charlize. She's the one that kind of
She's a hottie with a body,
sells
dude.
it. I wasn't attracted to her back then.
No?
I wasn't.
You're attracted to her now?
It was a later thing in life that I was like, wait a minute, am I into Charlize?
The answer was yes.
The answer was yes.
You're crazy, dude.
I think
She was so hot in The Devil's Advocate.
I think my anger.
No, because it wasn't that movie.
But I was forced to go watch it. I know for a fact I didn't want to go watch Sweet November. That's for sure.
That's true.
So I was like, fucking bullshit. Like, here I am again. 1 year later.
Same movie.
Yeah.
On behalf, I guess I can't speak for Rose, but on behalf of your sisters, I apologize.
Yeah. So, in light of all these things, I was like, you know what? Me and Lil need to do an episode. We don't know what to do it on because I already have all these plans to do these other episodes with Bono, and Lil Lil might be there for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
But I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna do? And then I was like, wait a minute. Me and Lily have a very up and down relationship with the rom-com and the chick flick. And I was subjected to a lot of this. I was put through a lot, I don't want to compare to like slavery.
Definitely.
I don't want to make the comparison.
Wow.
But
that's the one thing that comes to mind.
I felt like
a slave to
the chick flick, to you women that were forcing me to watch these things, and some I enjoyed, and some I know that by the end of Sweet November I was invested.
You were a better man.
I was in a better man. Maybe. If Keanu
can become a better man,
can learn. Despite his terrible acting, then maybe so can I.
Yeah.
And
you know what's funny is when we were discussing these movies last night, you wanted to spend little to no time talking about these movies, and yet we have spent.
What do you mean little to no time?
About Sweet November and Autumn in New York. You're like, I don't want to talk about that.
When did we discuss that yesterday?
Last night.
I don't remember.
Anyway.
But yeah, so it's like, okay, we need to compile a list. We need to see all the we need to get all the rom-coms together, or the chick flicks, and we need to go through the history. And I haven't seen a lot of these, but we compiled the list here.
And it was like it wasn't like a full list. I feel like we're
probably missing stuff. And also a bit of a disclaimer for this list. I was looking up on IMDb or lists of rom-com / chick flicks, and some of these are like not
questionable.
Yeah, maybe people will not consider them chick flicks or whatever, but they were on the list, and I felt that the ones that we put on the list do have merit in. Mainly romance. If it's like has a heavy romantic plot line that a man would not like
immediately run to the movies to watch.
Yeah, then I think it does qualify
as a chick flick.
Or chick flick adjacent,
right?
Perhaps. So we put it on the list, and we're gonna talk about a lot of these things because I know that you guys love our lists.
And if you don't, you're gonna love this one.
And I would love for Bono to be here, but Bono did not grow up with sisters, and I'm sure Bono was not subjected to all the chick flicks that I was, and maybe it has been recently because he he has a family and a woman now, so she may be forcing him to watch
think so.
chick flicks. And
I think so.
that's a conversation that I need to have with him.
Right.
And it's a private conversation.
But maybe you'll record it.
Maybe. And so here we go. I looked through the decades, and so we have a few movies from the 70s here.
Well, yeah, because we asked the age-old question, like, when did the chick flick come about?
Yeah, and I don't believe it came about in 1971 because I believe as probably the first movie that was ever made was probably about a bitch. So
Was it funny, though?
I don't know.
For a bitch?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing here. I don't want to use the term rom-com when we're talking about these lists. I want to use the more, I think, less degrading and more...
So maybe we should
more
stop saying...
more accurate term, chick flick. I think that's the correct term, right?
Yeah, I think so.
As a chick yourself,
I am a chick, dude.
and so a lot of these movies I haven't seen, but Lily has seen, and they're on the list. So she'll speak on them a little bit.
Briefly.
We're going to
brief.
try to run through this list. And, maybe as we talk about some of these movies, we'll realize that maybe some of these movies deserve their own episode. And as I stated before, Bono, he has a family, as do you. But, sometimes he can't record. So I think what the genius idea I had yesterday is that whenever Bono can record and I want to record, I'm going to call upon Lil Lil, and we're just going to tackle these chick flicks one by one as they should be tackled.
As one does.
All right, so we're starting off in 1971. Let's go back.
Oh, we're going way back.
Let's go back, Lily, to 1971. How about it?
Let's do it.
Get in your little DeLorean. Come on. Come for the ride. So we're starting with Fiddler on the Roof, who this movie I only know by name.
Really?
I don't know what it is about, who is in it, or what. But it has an 8 out of 10 on IMDb, 81% Rotten Tomatoes score, and 92% audience score. Tell me about Fiddler on the Roof, Lily.
Well, the only reason I know Fiddler on the Roof.
Why do you know about Fiddler?
Well, because I was in music class when I was
and there
in
was
high
a
school.
fiddler on the, was there a fiddler on the roof?
Yeah, and it opened a conversation. No, when I was in choir in high school, it was very much like a music appreciation class. Like, shout out to Mr. Heffernan if one day he listens to this. But
God willing.
he actually made me love musicals. Like, I never thought that I loved musicals, although we're Disney kids, right? So, like, we loved a musical.
We loved cartoons.
We loved cartoons that were...
And if they sang, so be it.
They always sang, dude.
I could show you the
Exactly.
world.
Or even like Snow White, that was all sing song.
Cinderella.
It was all
Cinderella,
Yeah. All of that, dude. So anyway, Fiddler on the Roof. He basically
He's fiddling.
He's fiddling.
Who is this? Who stars in this?
I don't know, dude. Old people.
Let's get to the bottom of this
You're
right
really
now.
gonna look this up?
A Fiddler on the Roof, directed by Norman Jewison. Is that racist? Jewison?
I don't think that's racist.
Is that how you say that name? Jewison?
I think so.
Okay, so Norman Jewison directed it.
I mean, it's about a Jewish family and Jewish tradition.
And it stars a person named Topol. That's
Yeah.
it. One name.
Yeah, Topol.
Topol, Norma Kane, and Leonard Frey. And
I mean, it's a musical. That's really what it's known for, is for the music,
Okay.
But basically, he has 3 daughters, and he's determined to marry his daughters in a traditional way. And then one daughter ends up falling in love with someone that he doesn't agree with. And so it's basically like kind of like...
so this seems like it's a Jewish family. So she's falls for a non-Jew, I'm assuming.
And he's very upset about it. And so, but in the end,
so he needs to sing about it.
he needs to sing about it. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful movie, and it's like, for the time, it's talking about, topics that are still going on in this day, where we still think we have to marry within our culture, and it's harder for our parents to accept these kind of things. And so Topol eventually comes around, which is great, and he lets his daughter marry the man that she wants. And
spoilers for Fiddler on the Roof, guys.
If you've never seen it, and Topol ends up loving this guy. They become very close, and he sees how happy his daughter is. But it is what it is. Like,
so happy ending. No one dies.
No one dies.
And then what's the okay?
And they sing about ladles,
Okay.
So
I can appreciate a nice ladle.
Yeah. It's a fun musical.
Well, I'll probably never know. I'm not gonna watch Fiddler on the Roof, I don't think. Well, who knows?
You might.
One day I may be paralyzed, and you
might make you watch
just
it.
Throw it on, and there's nothing I can do about it.
That would sound so nice.
Anyway, moving right along from 1971, we skip 2 years ahead to 1973 to The Way We Were. 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 64% Rotten Tomatoes, but a healthy 81% audience score. The Way We Were, I remember you purchasing this film and watching it and having zero interest and never attempting to watch this with you, but you were into it.
Well, I'll tell you the story of why I watched The Way We Were.
You were just going through a breakup or something?
No, probably, but I was always going through breakups.
That's true.
No, it was because of Sex and the City.
You fool.
Yeah. So there's an episode of Sex and the City, probably in the second season, maybe first or second season, where they bring up The Way We Were.
Okay.
Because Sarah Jessica Parker's going
Let's
through a breakup.
not get into the plot of Sex and the City episode. Let's just talk about The Way We Were.
It's important because they start singing the song, and I'm just like, this song is pretty good. So Barbara Streisand has the theme song, and it's called The Way We Were, and it's a beautiful song.
The Way We Were stars Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford, of course.
Just gorgeous man in this movie, Gordy.
Yeah?
Gorgeous. Yeah, and in his prime, in her prime.
Directed by Sidney Pollack, of course.
And this movie is, all of these movies that we're going to talk about probably almost all have happy endings. This one does not have a happy ending.
No, I remember you telling me about this movie and how much you liked it, and that it well, I think the title kind of spoils it. It's called The Way We Were, not The Way We Are.
The ultimate spoiler, right? Yeah. And look at the poster. It says Streisand and Redford together, but not
for how long?
Not in the end, my friends. Yeah. I mean, what I really appreciate about movies like this is just like when they don't give you the happy ending, but they still tell you a beautiful love story. And it really was. It was a good one. Great acting.
Yeah. I've never seen it, of course, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I get it. Whatever.
And it goes over a long period of time. It's like probably like that relationship you can think about where like you guys can't let each other go.
Yeah. And
you try really hard. You're like working too hard, and it's not going to end well, but you just give it the good old college try, you know? So they spend many years together, and then the outcome is still the same.
Right. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, they say. The way we were.
We're probably going to have a drink after this.
We might. Well, we are. Lex is getting married today.
Oh, that's true.
Congratulations, Lex. We're recording this
on your wedding morning.
Yeah, so you can listen back to this episode as many times as you want. And like, it's 9:45 a.m. right now, so really think about where you were doing at 9:45 a.m. the day that you got married.
And then we're going to talk about things that are probably going to help you in your marriage.
Ah, this is so fitting.
It's so fitting.
We're doing so much for Bono's brother Lex, right?
He doesn't even know it.
Yeah. Anyways, moving right along to 1977, we have the very controversial Annie Hall. This one you did make me watch. This one I did sit through.
And?
Well, it's like probably very different kind of story, but overall
same outcome.
Thing as The Way We Were, right? It's about a Jewish nerd, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a nerd.
He's a comedian in it, right?
I can't remember.
He's a comedian.
I can't remember. Well, this movie stars Woody Allen and Diane Lane. Diane
Keaton, dumbass.
Shit, my bad. I'm gonna edit that out. Don't worry. Diane Keaton. I don't know what she does. She's an eccentric person, right?
She's
a free
artist.
spirit.
Yeah, she's
her own woman.
She is her own woman. And in the 70s, I think it's hard to be like that liberal. And she was just her own woman. She was different.
Yeah. And so she meets this
comedian.
This comedian who, Woody Allen. It's like, is he a good actor or is he just being Woody Allen?
I think he's just being Woody Allen.
And he's, he has this way of talking where he just seems like this, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't want to say weak, like annoying.
Yeah.
Bitch. I don't know.
Yeah. Like kind of a pushover character, needy. But also full of himself. He thinks he's
full of life, right? I don't mean that. I don't know.
Just talking out of your ass at 9:45 a.m.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, getting ready.
He's like a pushover, but he's oddly confident about like the way he can like seduce a woman or like have a woman, I think. And he's not a good-looking guy, but he gets good-looking chicks.
Well, yeah, this is what the main thing of what this movie is. He obtained. Is that a word? Obtain?
I think so. Yeah.
He obtained a woman that he shouldn't have been able to have gotten. Mm-hmm. She's way above him in
every way,
the looks department, at least, and she's probably more intelligent as well. I don't know. It's been a long time since you made me watch Annie Hall. But yeah, it's about them going through a relationship that ultimately ends with the end of that relationship. And also like they get
controversy about like he's with a young girl, right? First.
I can't remember. Is she a lot younger than him in it?
I think so, yeah.
Well, we could all relate to things like this. Annie Hall got an 8 out of 10 on IMDb, 97% Rotten Tomatoes, and 92% audience score. I mean, when people talk about Woody Allen, I feel like this is the movie, right?
There's others, but I think this is the one that really, I think everyone can relate to when it comes to relationships. And again, it's very similar to The Way We Were, where like they try to make it work, and in the end, they're too different and they can't make it work.
Right.
And so it's just like egos get in the way, like the fighting begins, and then you're just like no longer enjoying your relationship, and you got to let it go.
It's true. And we got to let Annie Hall go and move straight into 1979, another Woody Allen movie that I have not seen, but apparently Lily worships the man.
I don't worship him, and honestly I don't really remember Manhattan that much.
Okay, well then let's move along.
It's the same concept. It's all like early Woody Allen is all about relationships.
I think fucking all of his movies are about just keeps making the same movie.
But he was in them,
this one stars himself and Diane Keaton again and Mariel
He falls
Hemingway.
in love with his best friend's mistress.
Really? So he's like, what the fuck, bro? You're fucking my side bitch?
Yeah, so it's like
it's my side bitch.
His friend is like has a side bitch. He's in love with her, but then when Woody meets her, he's just like, oh, like we have so much in common, and like you're not even gonna end up with her. Like you have your wife, you're never gonna leave your wife. So why don't you let me? Like so, it's like then they're fighting for her, but it's just like it. it's a sick situation, but I think he's very sick in the 70s when it comes to marriage and affairs. Like, you can honestly see that he doesn't respect the sanctity of marriage because all of his movies have to do with betrayal.
Wow. Well, what do you think was going on with one Mr. Woody Allen?
And one Miss Mia Farrow.
Exactly. Maybe there wasn't a lot of trust. Maybe he was gonna fuck his stepdaughter. I don't know. I don't know.
Oof. We don't have time for this one.
Again, you.
I am not an apologizer.
Revere the man, and I've always been like,
Listen.
as much as like whatever, you made me watch Annie Hall, and I can appreciate that as a good movie, and I enjoyed watching it. I always do feel weird watching a Woody Allen film because of all the baggage that he carries.
It's true. And if you think about the man, yeah, like there's probably everyone probably has baggage. His is probably a little heavier than most, right?
Yeah, the baggage of fucking your
stepdaughter. Right.
I mean, Pornhub is now 80% this, but
Woody Allen, yeah.
Fucking your stepdaughter, I mean.
That's true. That's true. Woody Allen gave them a lot of material.
Yes.
But I think for me it was like I watched a Woody Allen movie before knowing who Woody Allen was and what his controversy was. And so I think that I just fell in love with like his storytelling and the way that he directs movies. Like it's very unique. And to this day, if you really think about it, even though he stopped acting in his movies a very long time ago, which is what he used to do, like he was in all of his movies, his stories are still like pretty incredible, and to this day people are winning Oscars for playing roles in his movies.
When's the last time somebody won an Oscar in his movie?
Cate Blanchett, I think, was the most recent one. She won for Blue Jasmine, and before that Penelope Cruz won for Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Well, that's why the Oscars are a fucking shit.
You say that, but then you get really excited when the actors
when they finally give it to somebody worth giving it to.
Well, then, don't say it's a worthless award.
I will. I think all awards are stupid, but
for some reason we're obsessed with the Oscars.
Well, you fucking made me. I'm not obsessed with it, first of all.
Okay.
But you obsess over them. Let's move right along. Let's get into the 80s a little bit.
16 Candles.
So I brought up 16 Candles to you, 1984, of course. 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 81% Rotten Tomatoes. 85% audience score. And you went, eh. I've never seen 16 Candles. I can't really speak on it, but I do know about its like cultural importance, and it's a Howard Hughes or John Hughes.
John or Howard?
John Hughes. Howard Hughes, I think, is the aviator. It's a John Hughes film starring Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, and Justin Henry. And, as somebody who knows a lot about movies or watches a lot of movies, I know of this movie, but I've obviously have never wanted to watch a movie called 16 Candles, which I'm assuming is about a 16-year-old girl. So I kind of...
That is correct.
Don't need...
I mean, that's it. I mean, the titles have really been giving a lot of these movies away, right?
I think so. But I just guess I assumed that you probably thought this was like one of the better rom-coms or something, and you were just like, whatever. I don't care about 16 Candles.
I'm gonna tell you how little I care about 16 Candles.
Tell me.
I don't remember it very much. It's not something that I was like... I watched and I'm just like, oh, this movie stayed with me.
It's something you watched already older, right?
Older. And so that's kind of, I gave you the Star Wars example because we go back and forth about Star Wars a lot. And you're right. You're just like, but you've watched other things older and you still loved like an old movie. Like, that's true. Maybe this movie just didn't, like, I didn't relate to it, maybe.
What's the plot of it? A girl's sweet 16th birthday is anything but special. So fuck. Her family forgets about it, and she suffers from every embarrassment possible.
So you know how like we watched Not Another Teen Movie a lot?
Yeah.
So
I watched it the other day.
it's so good, dude.
It's stupid as
It's
hell.
so stupid. And Captain America, that's how he got to start, dude.
I know.
It's
I wonder if
incredible.
he regrets it.
I don't think so.
I'm sure he does.
Well, maybe
I'm sure he's embarrassed by
maybe
it.
he's embarrassed by having the banana up his ass.
It wasn't up his ass.
How was it?
It's a prop. It was like somebody probably glued it on his butt.
Or it was up his ass.
It was up. It was too up to be up his ass. It was like on the borderline on his hips.
Okay, fine. It was like in his tailbone.
Yeah.
So they poke fun a lot about like 16 Candles and She's All That. I think it's very like those two movies in particular are like very heavy and like what they make fun of.
Yeah.
And so it's like she basically like feels invisible, like her family like doesn't like remember it's her birthday, but also she's a high school chick that is in love with, the typical shit. She's in love with the guy that's out of her league.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has like her best friend who's in love with her, but she'll never end up with him, right?
And she doesn't, right?
No, she ends up with the fucking cool jock or whatever. And that's why I think I kind of hate that movie, because it's just like, you're giving the wrong message that you should chase after some motherfucker that like first didn't even notice you and was with like the hot cheerleader, and then at the end you somehow convince him that you're the better choice. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's more realistic because that's how life works. Like a woman will very rarely end up with
The one she should end up
the
with.
best friend that is in love with her, that's always there for her when other dudes are like tearing her apart, and then the guy's there like, oh yeah, but what about me? And that's just the way life works. I mean, I'm sure some people have ended up with their best friend that was like super friend zoned, but that's usually not the way it works.
I know. It's
So as much as you think it's sending the wrong message, which perhaps it is, but it's the more realistic
Well,
message.
I think what happens is that when you watch these things older, as opposed to watching them like in real time when you're like a kid or a teenager, it probably hits different, right? Like you're thinking like, yeah, like I need to end up with the hot guy, or I have hope to end up with the hot guy that hasn't noticed me. But yeah, that's not like, I wouldn't want to raise girls like that, and it sucks because that's always been the message.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, I think now things are changing, right?
Well, I think it's a trope in movies too that the girl does realize that they should be with the best friend. Am I mistaken?
I think we've gotten there, but not always. Not in this case.
Not in the case of 16 Candles. You're right.
Or Pretty in Pink. I think that's the same concept, right? She like wants the hot guy or whatever. I don't know. I never saw it, but
Me neither. Okay.
Anyway.
So moving right along to
Can't Buy Me Love.
No. Sorry. We're going to 1986.
Damn, you moved the list.
We're going to 1986 to One Hannah and Her Sisters.
Back to Woody Allen. We should have just talked about Woody Allen in
I
one.
guess this is a Woody
one
Allen
shot.
podcast. 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 91% Rotten Tomatoes score, and 90% audience score.
Look at
Tell me about Hannah and Her Sisters.
Well, this movie is very controversial, man, because if you really think about Woody Allen and what happened between him and Mia Farrow, this movie probably was a little bit of like predicting the future, if you will.
Okay, what happens in this movie?
So Hannah and Her Sisters, that's what it is. It's basically Mia Farrow is the main character, and she's married to Woody Allen, which at the time she was, and she has two sisters. And honestly, this is a story about like, just kind of like sisterhood and just drama that you have with your sisters. Like you're always comparing.
Who's Hannah? Tell me about Hannah.
Hannah is Mia Farrow.
Okay.
So,
And her sisters?
her sisters are just her sisters. I don't remember their names.
Were they relevant actresses?
I don't remember. Probably. Anyway, the story is that eventually they all kind of start having like affairs with each other. So like Woody Allen falls in love with Hannah's sister.
Barbara Hershey or Diane
Diane Weiss. Yeah. Yeah, she was relevant in the 80s.
Carrie Fisher.
Oh, they're all. Yeah, Carrie Fisher. Yeah, no, this is an all-star cast.
Michael Caine. Oh, Max von Sydow.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Woody Allen was not in this. It's Michael Caine. So Michael Caine is just...
Woody Allen's in it as Mickey. Louis Black is in this? Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Must be very young. Look at
John Turturro?
He's a writer. He's a writer?
He plays a writer.
He has no name.
He's writer.
Interesting.
Hell of a cast.
Dude, this movie is really great, but it's very fucked up. And they're all just sleeping with each other. They're all betraying each other.
Hannah is with Michael Caine.
Hannah's with Michael Caine.
And Hannah's Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
And then Hannah's sister, who is played by
Carrie Fisher.
Fucks Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Probably blows him.
Michael Caine falls in love with her.
Interesting. And what about her other sister? There's multiple sisters here.
Sisters, but
Does he fuck their other sister?
I don't think he fucks her other sister.
A little finger blasting,
but maybe there's some attraction.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very fucked up movie, but it honestly it does come back to just like sisters being jealous of each other. And maybe like wanting to get back to each other for some shit that doesn't even matter anymore.
Es que si son las pinches viejas.
It's true. It's true. But imagine like wanting to get back at your sister so bad that you fuck her husband.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, that's not okay.
No.
That's not okay. I'm giving you the cliff notes. Maybe we will have to do a Woody Allen 70s podcast.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking dedicate an episode to Woody Allen. This is as close as we're gonna get to that. Wow. So let's switch up gears a little bit. You want to get? Let's get a
little dirty.
I'm gonna quote one Christina Aguilera here, and I'm gonna say, let's get a little dirty. All right. Let's do a little dirty dancing. 1987 was the year.
I've had the time of my life. I mean, wasn't the 80s just about singing the theme song?
I fucking guess. 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Blasphemy.
72% Rotten Tomato score, 90% audience score.
Well, the audience was right.
I don't think I ever watched Dirty Dancing, but I do.
You've seen New Girl.
That's what I was going to say. Where I come in with where Dirty Dancing means to me is that Jess would watch it whenever she got broken up with.
As she should. It heals all wounds.
I remember you watching this a lot, and this is going back to you guys making me watch chick flicks. Just like the vibe of one, I'd be like, yeah, I'm out on this one. Dirty Dancing was something that I was like, no thanks.
Well,
goodbye.
It's a lot of dancing and music.
And it's dirty. I think it's dirty, and I don't like that.
It was dirty.
Can we get some nice, clean dancing, perhaps?
Listen, Jess said it best. It was a different time.
It was a different time. That's
because Nick was just trying to understand, you know?
Yeah, the movie was directed by Emile Ardolino. Starring Patrick Swayze, of course, Jennifer Grey.
Pretty nose job.
I'll tell you what about one Jennifer Grey. You just said pre-nose job. What a shame.
What a shame.
Because I fucking love that nose. My God.
You are a nose man more than anything else.
I don't know why.
It's
not
so
more than
weird.
anything else.
I think it is.
Ass is one.
Nose is a close second.
It's a close second. But, you know, it's not a deal breaker, of course. Otherwise, but yeah, you had a thing. I've always had a thing for big ass noses. I don't know. And she has the perfect one.
She had the perfect big nose. And what a shame. Because
What a shame.
She fixed her nose, and what happened?
There was nothing wrong with it.
No,
There was
she-
nothing wrong with
but
that
her nose
She
also-
didn't fix it. She butchered it.
No, well, she looked completely different, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is her now. She's older, but yeah, that looks like a regular small nose.
So, I mean, this movie really
Awakened you sexually?
awakened me.
When did you first watch Dirty Dancing? Because I know you watched it later. Well,
Later.
I remember watching it, or you watching it, so I was probably maybe a tween or something when I
Yeah.
remember you watching this movie a lot.
I think maybe 10 years after. If this was 87, maybe I watched it in 97.
That sounds about right.
Even watching it at that age, I think I didn't fully understand a lot of this. And again,
The Dirty Dancing?
the dirtiness of the dancing. No, I understood that part. Okay, when Swayze's teaching her on the log, I went to Madame Tussauds, or I went to the wax museum, and I took a picture with Swayze on that log.
That's nice.
It was one of the most exhilarating moments,
Exhilarating.
moments of my life.
I'm
Because
glad
I
you
love-
were exhilarated.
Because I love this movie so much, even though it's so silly. And it's just, the storyline is just hilarious.
It's absurd.
It's absurd. Yeah, you can say that word because it is absurd. Patrick Swayze's probably in his 30s in this movie. And I don't know if it's meant for him to be this old, but he basically is like this not music. He's like this dance teacher at like a country club, like for rich people, when people go like on vacation, like to the Hamptons or whatever. But all of these like rich married ladies also like want to fuck him, you know?
Of course.
And-
Wayne Knight is in this movie.
And so he's known to be like kind of like their gigolo, if you will. Like they'll pay him
To fuck?
to show him a good time, you know?
He's a whore?
He's kind of a whore.
He gets paid to fuck
He doesn't get paid to fuck. He gets paid to teach them how to dance.
with his dick.
Well, I'll leave
I'll lead.
I'll leave that to your imagination. But he was like, in the movie, there is definitely one woman that is very clear that he's having an affair with.
Okay.
And I'm sure her husband is like I think even at one point like gives him a check and is like, here, she wants more lessons.
Interesting.
But then here comes Baby.
I know that you don't put baby in a corner. I know that.
You don't, dude.
And I've never seen the movie, but I know that you don't put her in a corner.
It's so corny, dude, but you just gotta love it. So he meets Baby, and Baby's still. I wanna say she's like just fresh out of high school, which is what makes it controversial. Really, is like, here's this like fresh young girl who is very naive to the world, and she's still very much like, you know, coddled by her rich parents who run the show. Her dad's a doctor. Her mom's just like this like goody two shoes, like homemaker. You know, like what moms used to be back in the day. They just, you know,
Right.
raise their daughters to be good wives, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Baby she's a rebel. She wants to live life differently. And so then she meets like these people, and he's just like, they're like, come to this party. And so she goes, and that's when they're all dancing dirty.
Interesting.
And Patrick Swayze is very much like the leader of the pack, right? Like he's the dirtiest of the dancers. And so she's like, wait a second, like this is wrong, but I'm kind of intrigued.
Wet,
I think I'm feeling things. So let's not get too into it, but
Well, a little late for that.
there's an abortion in it, which is
Whoa.
what makes it a little like, you know,
A baby gets an abortion?
no. So there's a dancer.
Baby
chick.
kills a baby?
A baby is part of killing a baby. So there's this dancer that Patrick Swayze is very close with, and she finds out she's pregnant, and she wants to have a shmorshmortion.
By whom?
They don't say.
Is
No,
Swayze
no,
getting his dirty dancing dick in there?
You know, Baby's dad assumes that, but it's not true. So
How do you know? Did you get did they take a test? It could have very easily been Swayze. He's just like, oh, baby, I would never dirty dance with her. Like, get the fuck out of here.
stop trying to make this movie what it's not.
I think you're fucking naive is what I think.
All right, I'm gonna rewatch it. Anyway, this girl really wants to get an abortion, but they don't have money. They're like broke dancers, right? And they're like trying to make money in the summer and whatever. So baby tries to get her the money to get the shmoshmoshin.
Mm-hmm.
And but the doctor that does it is not a good doctor. So this chick is dying.
Interesting.
She gets the abortion, but she's dying. So baby goes and she gets her dad.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, Dad, like, come help me save this girl.
Yeah, the baby's dead, but
So then he comes and he saves her. But he's just disgusted and disappointed at the fact that they all participated in this like botch abortion, you know, and almost killed this girl. And
in a way, the dirtiest of dances, right? The abortion.
the abortion. This movie like is kind of ahead of its time and like
Yeah, it
talking
sounds
about something so
so-
crazy.
wow.
No, it is. What? How many movies back then were talking about abortion?
I'm sure plenty.
I don't think so, buddy. We'll Google it.
We'll Google abortion movies later. That's another podcast. Maybe with another time that Bono doesn't show up, we'll do our abortion extravaganza. But today we're talking chick flicks.
Yeah, but that's the dark
We'll
part.
start with Revolutionary Road or whatever.
Ooh.
Spoilers for that one.
That is the abortion movie.
Anyways, let's move along from this.
But
I feel
anyway.
like you've been talking about Dirty Dancing too long.
Because it's so good.
It's so good. Everybody watch it. Go watch this.
it. Go watch it right now.
Go see the product of Dirty Dancing. It ends with fucking botched abortions.
And putting baby in a corner, and then Swayze has to take her out
I
of the
feel
corner.
like abortion during an abortion, you're kind of putting a baby in a corner. And then sucking them out,
Oh
sucking
my
them out of
God.
said corner.
Can we please
Please.
stop talking about Dirty Dancing?
I would fucking love. I would have loved to already, but you brought this out of me.
I'm sorry. This
Anyways,
is not how I thought this little summary was going to go.
it's same year, I believe, as the Dirty Dance. We got "Can't Buy Me Love," 1987. I mean, this is a movie that owes everything to the Beatles, I
Yeah.
guess. 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 50% Rotten Tomatoes score, 74% audience score.
Okay.
This is a low one. This is a low one on the list here. And so far, they've been having pretty good numbers, but
Well, this is the beginning of Patrick Dempsey.
as McDreamy, as they call him.
Yeah. Those who watch Grey's Anatomy.
There's
relate.
so many of those
Really?
kind of
I've
people.
never seen Grey's Anatomy. So
Why would you?
I don't know.
Oh, I need to. What about Grey? Can you tell me about her anatomy? Fuck off.
Who is
dude.
Grey? All
I
right.
think
That's
it's what's her name? Pompeo.
Pompeo?
Yeah, what's her first name?
I can't remember.
Pompeo. We don't need her.
Alan? Alan Pompeo?
Perhaps.
I think so.
All right. It stars McDreamy himself, Amanda Peterson, Courtney Gaines. I think Seth Green's in this movie.
As his little brother, Chuck. Yeah, Chucky.
yeah, Chuck Miller.
He's so good in it.
Seth Green.
He's like the best annoying little brother. He really is.
Recently, Lalo, our brother, looked into this movie and found out that the woman
chick.
in it, Amanda Peterson, lived a very tragic life.
Horrible life
And
of addiction.
yeah, and she died from some drug-related issues. And I don't remember this movie very much, but I do remember as a child, I think we owned it.
We did, and we watched it a lot.
And it was playing a lot. I think I was a little too young to retain most of it. I do remember he was in a lawnmower.
Uh-huh.
He was all running around a lawnmower. And I remember the scene where he pulls out the money
Right.
and he's like, I will pay you to go out with me or whatever.
Right.
That's all I remember. So this is a movie where the guy pays a woman to go out with him. And I mean, I'm assuming by the plot here is that he's a loser who would never go out with her, but I'm seeing pictures of him in this movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a loser that would have trouble getting laid.
In the beginning, he is. He looks like.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
I see this here.
Like he dresses weird. His hair's weird.
Because look at this picture here. Look at him.
Yeah, because she transforms him.
She puts sunglasses on him and combs his hair.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Well, a little fashion advice goes a long way.
It goes a long way. Yeah. You just need a girl to comb your hair and then you're handsome. But yeah, this is
it's that scene in not another teen movie.
Yes,
where she's gonna give her the makeover, then she takes off her glasses. She's like, "I did it! I'm a miracle work."
But it's true. All these movies are so stupid like that because, like, you didn't go to a plastic surgeon. Patrick Dempsey. You just put a little gel on his hair and took off his glasses and maybe gave him some new shirts.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it goes back to just how, like, teenagers care so much about that shit, right? Like,
right.
He would give anything to just become popular. Mm-hmm. And so it's weird because usually it's the other way around, right? It's usually the chick that is looking for the validation. And in this movie, it's the guy.
That sounds very sexist.
No, but it's true.
How is that true?
Like, it's usually
we seek validation as well, you fuck.
Tell me how many movies.
Can't Buy Me Love right here. It's all in the text.
Well, that's why I love it so much, is because they put the guy in that situation, and that's pretty cool. But it doesn't play out well for him. I don't know if you remember any of this, but
it doesn't end happy.
It does, but he gets so fucked, dude. Like, so this.
They rape him?
No. Why do you go there?
Well, you're the one saying he gets fucked.
Like, fucked over.
Oh well, you gotta specify these. I don't know the plots to these films, Lily.
Okay, basically, he's a nerd. This chick is super popular. He mows her lawn. He sees, like, how influential she is.
Can he buy her love? That's my question.
I think he does.
Well, then this fucking movie title's a lie.
Well, okay, here we go. Quick, like 2 minutes, right?
2.
All right.
I'm gonna put a timer, right?
Okay. So he has $1,000 that he wants to spend that money, like, on something good, something valuable. But then this chick, like, being a stupid, drunk, popular chick, ruins her mom's, like, really expensive jacket. And so it'll cost her a lot of money to, like, replace it. And so this guy is just like, I have the money, like, I can help you. But, like, there's a catch. Like, I want you to, like, actually help me become cool. Like, just date me for a week. Just 1 week. Give me 1 week of popularity.
Yeah.
And then you can break up with me, and then that's it. And it works. She, like, at first, like, her friends are like, what? This guy's a loser. But she's like, no, he's actually really cool. She starts, like, making changes. His personality is great, so that's what shines, and people start to like him. But they all like him because of her, right? Mm-hmm. And so then after a week, they have a very public breakup in the quad, as you do. And then after that, like, her friends, which is, again, talks to you about bitches, you know? Her friends immediately want to pounce on him.
Interesting. It's because I think a wise man once said, I don't want to misquote.
Okay.
But I do think, and these are wise words.
Don't say what I think you're going to say.
Bitches ain't shit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say bitches be crazy.
No, I was going to say bitches ain't shit, but hoes and tricks.
What? All right.
And I think, I mean, by what you were saying, it seems to be, true sometimes.
Yeah, well, sometimes they're just not loyal. Like, girls are not loyal, dude. It's crazy.
Bitches ain't loyal. All right, that's enough on Can't Buy Me Love. I think that was more than 2 minutes.
It ends happily though.
It ends happily.
It's
What
a
matters.
cute, typical 80s movie.
It's
funny.
cute. It's typical. It's funny.
Watch it.
Let's move along. 1988, hell of a year.
That's the year you were born.
That's the year I was born. We got Heathers here.
Yeah.
I've never fully watched Heathers. I remember you watching it, and I watched the end of it. So I watched the end, and I was like, "Damn, this movie's hardcore."
It is hardcore. It's about murder.
It ends. I mean, I don't want to spoil Heathers, but it ends with, does Christian Slater blow himself up?
I think so.
Awesome.
I think they all die except for Winona Ryder, right?
Well, yeah, it stars Winona Ryder, Christian Slater, Shannon Doherty.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Anybody else of relevance in this film?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they were the main ones.
Heathers. Give me a little bit on Heathers. Oh, wait, hold on. First of all, 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. 95% Rotten Tomatoes score and 83% audience score.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Please.
It's Mean Girls with murder.
Interesting.
It just is about high school chicks being fucking vicious to each other. It's a popularity contest. There's a new girl, Winona Ryder. And, all these bitches are jealous of her. And Christian Slater's like the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just becomes, all of a sudden, it goes from being like this typical high school movie about girls just fucking hating on each other to girls starting to kill each other over stupid higch school shit.
And then Christian Slater fucking kamikazes himself.
He does.
Great message.
And
here.
I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Please don't mistake.
In the end, I think there's some heads, right? Like,
I don't remember.
Like she's playing like cricket or something with like
I don't
someone's
remember.
head.
The only image I remember is like him holding the bomb and about to blow himself up.
We'll rewatch it, but it's actually for what it's supposed to be. It's pretty cool.
Well, we're sorry for spoiling Heathers for you. You've never seen it. Now you know that Christian Slater does in fact blow himself up.
And Shannon Dorothy's like the villain.
I mean, she's always
Usually
was. She was a bitch. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Let's move right ahead to one of my favorite movies here. I wouldn't consider this a chick flick, but it does have the romance. And it's a bit of an inappropriate romance.
Inappropriate.
1988 was the year, of course, where we decided to ask the question. The movie we're talking about is Big. 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. 98% Rotten Tomatoes score. 82% audience score. Tom Hanks was nominated for an Oscar for this fucking movie.
Really?
And deservedly so, I think, because I watched this movie, I think, I may have been in high school or maybe middle school, maybe 8th grade, around there. I watched it on TV, and I thought, like, Tom Hanks does a really good job of acting like a little kid as an adult. So, I mean, it's worth the Oscar for me right there, I think. You want to see who took the Oscar from him this year?
If that will make you happy.
Let's do it.
We're almost through the 80s. It's pretty... Well, we did a little 70s. A little dab of 70s.
Let's
see. Jodie Foster won for The Accused.
Dustin Hoffman won for Rain Man.
You can't... Yeah.
Well, have you seen Rain Man?
No.
First of all, great film. And Dustin Hoffman is good in it, but he's doing your typical, like,
special needs
person performance. If anybody should have won, and I don't know who was nominated. It's weird that he's nominated for Best Actor and not Tom Cruise
Because he's the main actor in it.
Yeah, and I think Tom Cruise gives one of his best performances in that movie. Tom Cruise is fucking great. If there's anything to remember about Rain Man, it's not Dustin Hoffman's performance. I think it's Tom Cruise. He's fantastic in it.
I will watch it. I know I've always wanted to see it. I don't know.
But yeah, Dustin Hoffman took the Oscar from
Dustin Hoffman, I love him.
from Big, and Big is a tale as old as time. Really, this kid who lives at home, he has a best friend. They're just fucking buddies, and they go to a carnival, and he goes to one of those like machines that has like a palm reader or whatever.
Fortune teller.
And he wishes he was, I don't know, I think he got into it with his mom or something. He just wishes that he could just be big already. So he goes to sleep that night, and then in the morning wakes up as Tom Hanks. And the hilarity ensues, you know. He goes and tries to tell his mom that he's him, and she's just like, nah, motherfucker. And then he runs off. He gets his best friend, gets him an apartment. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
I love this movie. And, you know, it does
have a romantic.
It does have a romance.
It's inappropriate.
A little inappropriate. What's the name of this actress? She's a cutie pie.
She is a cutie pie.
Elizabeth Perkins. And also John Hurd is in this as her douchebag boyfriend / colleague. John Lovitz, of course. This is a great movie.
Okay.
Yeah, but Jennifer Grey has sex with Tom Hanks.
Jennifer Grey,
my bad. Elizabeth Perkins has sex with Tom Hanks in this movie, and then later realizes he's like a 13-year-old boy.
Lots of therapy.
Lots of it. But, you know, that's the 80s for you, really. Let's move right along to
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, same year.
Yeah.
7 out of 10 on IMDb, 97% Rotten Tomatoes, and 82% audience score.
So this is how I believe one Tim Robbins and one Susan Sarandon fell in love.
Wow.
This movie is very interesting. It's a baseball movie, but it's essentially about a baseball groupie. Mm-hmm. These chicks basically follow these MLB players like during spring training, and then if like there's like a rookie with some potential, but he's not quite there yet, Susan Sarandon fucks them into becoming great.
Damn, she's like Penny Lane.
She is, but for baseball. And that's what she does. Yeah. And Kevin Costner's like just like this like retired baseball player. Like he's still young, but I think he just got hurt or something. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of like coaching. And so he falls in love with Susan Sarandon, but this bitch just wants to fuck baseball players and make them great, you know?
Right.
So tale as old as time.
Yeah.
She'll eventually realize that she should be with the guy that's like her age, because these baseball players are younger than her. So she's got the experience, if you know what I'm saying. And then it's funny because she ends up in real life with Tim Robbins forever, and they never get married, right? Because she's much older than him. And to her right, in the end, they don't end up together because she ages and he still looked pretty damn good. So age catches up to all of us, my friends, is the moral of this story.
Let me tell you something else about Bull Durham. I did listen to a podcast with Kurt Russell, who's not in Bull Durham.
Okay.
But
that has something to say.
Kurt Russell used to be a baseball player. I don't know if he was in the majors. He might have been, maybe the minors. I don't know, but he was a baseball player. And he came up with the story of Bull Durham. It was kind of his story, and he had the idea for the movie.
No.
And I can't remember which producer or who it was that he pitched the idea to, and they were like, holy shit, like, yeah, this is great. It's a great idea for a movie. We're gonna make this. Mm-hmm. And then Kevin Costner read it, and he's like, I want to do this. And then so that producer had to call Kurt Russell and was just like, dude, hey, my bad, dog. I love you, but we're gonna make the movie. Good news, we're making the movie. Bad news, you're not gonna be a part of it. We got Kevin Costner. He really wants to do it. And Kurt Russell, being the fucking man that he is, he said, according to Kurt, he said something along the lines of like, make your movie and go to hell, and hung up the phone. So yeah, I don't know if I can ever watch Boulder. I'm knowing that Kurt Russell got wronged by Kevin Costner that way.
What a sleazeball. Wow.
Anyway, a little Bull Durham fucking fact for you. Next, 1988, we go to Working Girl.
Working 9 to 5. Yeah, I mean, Working Girl is. I mean, there's another movie with, I think, Diane Keaton that's like Baby Boom is very similar to like kind of like making a movie finally about like the working woman, you know, because there's just a lot of stigma in that at that time about being like a stay-at-home mom. So, but in the end, this movie is really about two bitches fighting for a man. One Harrison Ford.
Isn't it always?
And the hair you
on
saw
Harrison?
The hair on Joan
Joan,
Cusack,
yeah.
which you mentioned last night. I mean, it was very 80s, very power.
She's one of the bitches fighting for him.
No, she works in the office.
She's one of the working girls.
She's one of the working girls, right? Her nemesis in this one is.
Well, let's see who stars in Working Girl.
Well, you have a very young Melanie Griffith.
Okay.
You know, and Sigourney Weaver is her nemesis in this one.
Oh, Sigourney Weaver's like the bad?
She's like the one that is like jealous, like they become jealous of each other, or she becomes jealous of her quick success as she's like coming up in, you know, whatever firm they're working in. But Melanie Griffith is basically like, she has this idea and then like Sigourney Weaver basically steals her idea and takes credit for it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like a lot of like cat fighting, if you will, in the business environment.
Right. When a secretary's idea is stolen by her boss, she seizes an opportunity to steal it back by pretending she has her boss's job. So there's no work being done. There's stolen valor. There's a lot of...
There's identity theft.
Interesting.
Identity theft.
I don't know how much this girl's working. I don't know.
Well, it was her idea. She deserves to get it back.
Anyways, what happens? She end up with Harrison Ford?
Of course.
Oh, that's good. Sigourney, what happens with Sigourney?
Well, she gets exposed for the sneaky snail that she is, and she loses Harrison Ford, which really is the big loss.
Do they both bang Harrison Ford?
Of course. Well, Sigourney was, I think, banging him
so
first.
she was with him. Interesting. Okay.
I think. We'll have to rewatch. I might have to take all of this back.
Okay, let's move right ahead into 1989 when Harry Met Sally. Well, actually, yeah, when Harry Met Sally, we got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 89% Rotten Tomatoes score, and an 89% audience score. The critics and the audience agreed.
Equally.
I've never seen When Harry Met Sally. I feel like you have. Do you like this movie?
I do. Because
this is a Rob Reiner movie, isn't it?
It is a Rob Reiner movie, and I love Rob Reiner. And here's the thing about When Harry Met Sally is that it's not like a typical love story. This is like a story about two people who meet and decide very early on that they are not attracted to each other. Mm-hmm. And so therefore they become friends. And they see each other through like relationships. And I think like somewhere in between you probably feel like there's some sexual tension or they want to try it, but they never want to ruin it, you know?
Can you blame one Meg Ryan for not being attracted to Billy Crystal? First of all, I love Billy Crystal.
Right.
He's hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, he's not the best looking guy.
Well, I mean, if there's ever a time to fall in love with Billy Crystal, it was probably in 1989.
But I mean, he's hilarious, so that goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Luckily for me, I have the looks and the charm.
Look at him. He looks good in this movie.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And he's
Look
a little...
at Meg Ryan.
I know. Look at that hair.
It's feathered and gorgeous.
She's very young and naive. Like she's, and I think he's a little bit older. So he's kind of like guiding her through relationships and being like, nah, dude, like you're doing it wrong, Sally.
Right.
And they're very raw with each other. There's the famous scene at the diner, where she fakes the orgasm and she's trying to prove a point. Like, bro, you need to work a little harder because your bitches are lying to you.
Mm.
So it's important. Like she's speaking for women about.
So she's telling him, "Hey, bitches are faking their orgasms with you. What merit does she has Billy Crystal's bitches told him, hey, he can't make me come and I fake it?
I think
then why is she fucking saying that to him?
Because I think Billy Crystal in this movie is very cocky about how good he is at sex.
Oh, okay.
And she's like trying to make a point that for the most part, women can be very good at faking that they're having a good time in the sack. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, bullshit. You can't be that good. Mm-hmm. And then she proceeds to start slowly.
Right. I've seen the scene.
Having an orgasm. And
blah,
then,
blah, blah.
Yeah. Who wouldn't,
Right.
And in that moment, you truly believe this woman's having an orgasm, which should scare the shit out of every man,
Yeah. I guess.
Great movie.
Right.
They end up together.
I tried to fake an orgasm once, but we're not going to get into that. Anyway.
What?
Anyway. Let's wrap up the 80s with Say Anything, 1980 Day.
What a great way to wrap it up. Gazoon-tight, Gordy.
Thank you. 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 98% Rotten Tomatoes score, 85% audience score. This is Cameron Crowe's first movie, I believe, as a director. He wrote Fast Time is on in Richmond High. But this is the first movie that he directed, starring John Cusack, of course. And this is one of those movies that is considered, I think, one of the better rom-coms, right? Or more iconic, I guess, because everybody always makes fun of John Cusack holding the boombox
in the rain, as one does when you're trying to get your bitch
It's
back.
not in the rain.
It's not in the rain?
No, you're thinking High Fidelity.
Oh, shit. Isn't it the same scene then?
No, that's when he's all like, "You're a bitch."
Oh, that's so good.
You fucking bitch. But yeah, I like this movie. It's pretty good. You get your Johnny Cusack. Who else is in this film?
Is his sister in this one?
Yeah. John Mahoney's in it. Eon Sky.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Me either. This movie. I haven't seen it forever. I remembered it.
I don't remember much of this movie.
I remembered it being the girl from Nightmare on Elm Street, but I guess it's not her.
Lily Taylor. Yeah, that's true. She was like the pushover girlfriend, right?
Yeah. This is a movie about John Cusack wooing over this girl who is, I think she's like rich or something, and her dad does not approve of her being with this guy. He's like a kickboxer or something, and he's like, "What are you doing, kid?
Bad news.
What are you doing?" You're right. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do like this movie, and
we'll
yeah, I guess it's a very anticlimactic ending to the 80s. I don't own Say Anything. I don't think I would ever buy it, but I think it's an important movie because it's Cameron Crowe's first movie, and he goes on to direct some of our favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, since we're wrapping up the 1980s, I think we should wrap up this episode. Maybe next episode we will go ahead and tackle the 90s if we dare.
I think we will dare because the 90s are where our sweet spot is.
Right. I mean, we've watched a lot of these other movies from the 80s on TV and stuff, but the 90s were...
In real life, in real time.
Yeah. Some of them. Anyways, we're going to wrap this up right now.
It's been an honor.
Thank you. I think we tackled a lot. I think we said a lot of things that needed to be heard.
And some things that we shouldn't have said.
And that some things shouldn't ever be heard.
I think most of the things were actually the latter.
So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you listen to the other shows on the network. We are brought to you by Salad Bites Media each and every episode, of course. Our producer Oz out there still has Selena's Underground podcast, and there's a lot of podcasts on the network. The Nakama Boys are still doing the Lord's work, and there's a lot of good stuff out there, so check it out. And I think that wraps it up. Lil, you got anything else to say?
No, I don't. Other than I'm glad I'm a chick who made you watch a lot of flicks.
I guess so. We'll see. We'll see if it pans out, how this pans out. All right. Sayonara, Sammy, guys.
The Electro and Bono Movie